Hello, my name is Brendan Boldt, and I'll be giving a brief introduction to our paper, a review of the applications of deep learning-based emergent communication. This work was done in collaboration with David Mortensen. This work generally centers around the topic of emergent communication, or emergent language. This is a field of research which studies the origin of natural or human-like language from scratch using deep learning methods like reinforcement learning and neural networks. Specifically, this paper is meant to be a review or a survey of the applications and the goals of the field. Specifically, it looks at what other fields can most benefit from emergent communication. How can they benefit? And what work has already been done in emergent communication that works towards achieving these applications. This paper has three main contributions. The first is that it's intended to inspire future research within emergent communication by providing a clear framework for thinking about the ways that emergent communication can apply to other fields. It couples this with examples, not just of current literature that addresses these applications, but also what the next steps towards fulfilling these applications could be. Second, this paper is also meant to be a resource for researchers in emergent communication adjacent fields. Other researchers might not be as familiar with emergent communication, but this paper can give a easily referenced format for how emergent communication might be applicable to their own research. And finally, this work is also setting a groundwork for understanding long-term progress in emergent communication. We're trying to look at where emergent communication should be going, and so knowing what it's good for is an important first step. This helps us answer questions like, what makes an emergent language good? How do we make an emergent language better? This somewhat abstract question then allows us to ask more technical questions like, how do we design evaluation metrics for emergent communication? How do we design benchmarks? These types of things are very important for seeing progress over the years in a field like emergent communication. Now I'll give a brief overview of the structure of our paper. First of all, on the large scale, we divide the different applications and goals into three categories. The first category is the internal goals. These are not applications as we usually think of them, but they are the goals that primarily aim at improving emergent communication itself. So, for example, these include improving the similarity of emergent communication to human language, designing metrics and theoretical models that describe emergent communication systems, and developing software resources to make research on emergent communication easier. The second category is the task-driven applications. These we would generally associate with engineering insofar as they take well-defined problems and try to find a solution to them. This includes things like generating synthetic data for machine learning models, aiding multi-agent autonomous systems with communication, also figuring out better ways to communicate with humans, and finally also designing explainable machine learning models. The third category is that of knowledge-driven applications. These we would associate more with science because they seek at understanding or generating knowledge of a specific natural phenomenon. Naturally, this would include the various fields of linguistics like phonology, morphology, semantics, syntax, pragmatics, and sociolinguistics, and also more generally the way that language intersects with different aspects of human behavior like cognition and perception, the evolution of language from scratch, but also the origin of language, but also how it changes over time and how new learners of language acquire human language. Looking at now the micro scale of this paper, we structure each application using the same four headings in order to make it easy to reference and kind of easy to fit everything together. We start by giving a description of the application, try to answer what exactly is the problem trying to be solved or addressed here. We then explain how emergent communication is most applicable to this problem, what's unique about emergent communication, either in practice or in theory, that maybe makes it better than other approaches to this problem. We then give a summary of the current state of research as it pertains to this application, looking at specific papers and their approaches and how far progress has really been made on this application. And we wrap up each application by describing some next steps. What are the 1 or 2 papers that would be most fruitful, that would really open up new boundaries with this research? We hope that this summary has piqued your interest in our paper, and that if your research involves emergent communication directly or indirectly, that this paper can be a helpful resource to you. Thank you.